I was not planning on making a video today. I don't feel particularly well, it's really hot outside, it's a Monday, and I worked very hard today. However, this video up here is literally breaking records for the Z6iii Photo YouTube channel as far as views in its first day. The comments are literally blowing up with equal parts hogwash and reason. There have been some comments of people just wanting to see certain things tested, and some comments of people that have, watched other people's videos and then come in and claim that all these things are facts, and so I want to test some of these things too. We are testing 3 things today. We are going to go in order. We're going to sort one out, and then sort the second one out, and then sort the third one out in full. The timestamps will be below. First, we're going to test this highlight theory. People are saying that the highlights are bad, and then some people are saying that they're just not that good, and that is in the ability to recover them. Again, just like the shadows, we kind of debunked that under reasonable shooting conditions. It's actually not an issue at all. It's literally a nothing burger. We all know that if we severely underexpose an image and then try to bring back our mistakes or the fact that we had no shot to begin with in post, every single camera is going to look terrible. Here's how we're going to test that. We're going to overexpose highlights and increments, and we're going to recover all of them. Then we're going to properly expose for highlights using both spot and matrix metering. Then to finish off that section, we'll go into Lightroom and we'll review all this. The second thing we're going to test is shadows in video flicker, especially when you try to recover them, and specifically in N-Log. Now, I don't have a ton of experience shooting in N-Log because I only get about 3 to 6 minutes out of one particular card because I'm not a video guy. What you're looking at right now is just shooting in like 4K 10-bit, and that's totally fine for like what I do. So we're going to shoot some N-Log video to see if this shadow thing, and it very well could be true, I don't know, because I haven't even thought about shooting in N-Log because I don't. We're going to see if that's true. And then we'll finish off that section in DaVinci Resolve and we'll play around a little bit. I'm actually not looking forward to that because I don't have a card to actually get the colors right. And so I'm just going to have to, do my worst. And then in the third segment, we're going to try something I've never really thought I needed to try because I don't really shoot like that. But somebody asked, can you transition after burst shooting photos directly into 6K ProRes HQ and 4K H.265? And so I don't know. They said that the Z8 can do it, and if the Z6iii can do it like the Z8, then they will probably buy the Z6iii. So the way we're going to do that, it'll be through the Atomos. I'm going to take a 25 plus photo burst just like they asked, and then I'll switch directly into both of those video modes, and we'll see how seamless the transition is. Now I'm going to go out into the heat. Let's go. So according to the Nikon Z6iii and spot metering, and we had our point right here in this hot spot, as you can see in the video, this is proper exposure right in the middle of our meter. I chose this area because there's some details and some tiny little highlights from the texture and the artificial grain of these panels here. So that's just something for us to look at. We don't have to do anything here. Obviously, we can see everything, but we can certainly bring that down if we wanted. Going to one stop overexposed, we still have all of our texture and all of our details and stuff in there. And we can still pull that down. It's totally fine. We go 2 stops overexposed. Now we've pretty much lost all that. Bring our highlights down and we get it back. If we bring it all the way down, yeah, it's still there. It's totally fine. If we go 3 stops overexposed, this is at the very top of our exposure meter. We bring this all the way down and we have the details coming back. If we look at this back unadjusted, like this is wrecked. Like by all measure, we screwed up this image being 3 stops overexposed, but this is still recoverable. Now over here, we do have some areas that clipped, but this is not what we were exposed for. We were exposed for right here, and this has not been totally lost. At this point, if you go back, you can see the exposure meter is blinking at us. Now, what that means is when the exposure meter starts blinking, that means that the camera is just simply a piece of crap, like the Nikon Z6iii that is clearly struggling with highlights in this absolutely perfect image, and it's totally unrecoverable. And that exposure meter blinking means that Nikon has failed you, the consumer. that's obviously a joke. That means that you absolutely biffed your shot, right? You absolutely screwed it up, and it's your fault that you can't recover this. The camera was literally telling you that something was wrong with your exposure. And we went ahead and did 5 stops, and I'm just embarrassed for Nikon that this sensor on the Z6iii can't make this shot work. I mean, just look. And then we went 6 stops, and by this point I'm having to manual focus because the sensor can't even find this being that overexposed. And then we just took it even further, and this is really where you should sell your gear and move to a different ecosystem altogether, because I mean, how dare the Nikon Z6iii not fix this one? Obviously that's a joke, right? 3 stops overexposed, and we were totally able to recover it. It was only whenever our exposure meter was warning us that that spot was blown out that it actually did indeed blow out, and that was right here. I want to go back to the properly exposed one because this is pretty darn high contrast, and if I go and I try to fix the shadows, right, because this thing apparently can't do shadows at all, let's just like totally kind of make them ugly. Let's fix them to the point that they're ugly. I look over here and I don't see an absurd amount of grain over here, but if we take this and apply it to one that was intentionally underexposed, we look up here, not seeing a ton of grain up here. Now I'm starting to see some grain, and the grain is going to be more apparent over here. Oh no, what do? We totally screwed up our shot. This totally wasn't our fault. Well, just come over here. By the way, that's a very fine grain structure. It's not like a gross grain. But anyway, let's just go ahead and add some noise reduction here. And it basically looks totally fine. And the point I've been trying to make is that I don't notice a difference at all in the workflow of the Nikon Z6iii for photographs. I don't notice a difference to any camera I've ever, going all the way back to the Nikon D610. This is just my workflow. I generally add a little bit of noise reduction in anywhere, just because I hate noise, and you guys know that, and so I usually add a little bit. This doesn't feel any different, right? And therefore, I can determine that it's not really a problem. It's a nothing burger, like I've said 100 times.
You on my mind a lot. Don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got you in my pocket spot. Yeah, that's babe, need you every day. You like my oxygen. Make it seem like the barging down. Got my heart no barging in. From the bed to the floor to the couch. Might wake the neighbors up. Break you in, then break you out. In the end, we gon' make a child. Then we gon' hit the show. Part 2, we don't need no pause. Here with Misty, we gon' get tipsy. Don't need a power shot.
Copy my steel. Face the fact that ain't no cap, I'm real. Ain't no cap, I'm real. The plastic bars tryna copy my steel. Copy my steel. Face the fact that ain't no cap, I'm real. Ain't no cap, I'm real. The plastic bars tryna copy my steel.
Got my heart no in the bed. Break you in, then yeah, this every day. Got my heart no in the bed. Break you in, then yeah, this every day. This sound like Argentina. Had to fix my demeanor. No, they don't want me breathing. Still I rip like Gandhi. Got on 3 Jesus pieces, looking like Jay-Z and Yeezy. So far from conceited, but how can I be defeated? I hate to turn my wrist on like I'm Ben 10. Rappers think they doing something, I'm not a fan. I told my dad today, he said it's all pretend. I got back in my bed, now I got no friends.
Copy my steel. Face the fact that ain't no cap, I'm real. Ain't no cap, I'm real. The plastic bars tryna copy my steel. Copy my steel. Face the fact that ain't no cap, I'm real. Ain't no cap, I'm real. The plastic bars tryna copy my steel. Copy my steel.
So the complaint is whenever you try to recover shadows that you get flickering in the shadows. Now, I don't know exactly what flickering means. I can see grain, and whenever I play this, I can if this is what they're calling flickering, yes, and I've seen that on basically every camera. Whenever you're not properly exposed and you try to pull out the shadows, yeah, you're gonna get that grain dance, right? I added 57.5 to the shadows, so I can still see the dance of the noise whenever I pull that back even. This is the in RAW, but if I add a little noise reduction, let's see what we're dealing with here. Let's go ahead and give this some shadow. And see, normally I would just expose more for this. I just kind of set these both the same. But I don't have a ton. This is not my... We're getting a little bit of warping from the noise reduction that we added. It's causing a little bit of funkiness. Yeah, I'm totally like no expert, like absolutely no expert on the video side of things. But this doesn't feel like substantially worse than anything else. This seems doable if this is the only choice that I had. If this was the exposure that I was stuck with. I pulled some of that noise reduction back to get rid of that warping. 18 or 24 inches away from my screen, it looks okay. I think it would look okay on YouTube. Now this is in ProRes 12-bit or something like that. And again, I can see the dance of the grain. If this is what you're talking about with the flicker, then okay, yeah, it's there. And again, in this particular situation where it's not exactly properly exposed, yeah, it's definitely in there. Adding some noise reduction a little bit, we get some of that silly warping from that added effect, but this looks a lot better. I actually like this better than in RAW. Now this is in log ProRes 12-bit or whatever the heck I said it was. I like this better than the in RAW anyway. I didn't do as much with the coloring here. Let me see if I can make this look like okay. Again, this is not my forte. I would say like if this was the only shot that I had to get, then let me turn the noise reduction off. It actually does not take that much to get the dancing to significantly reduce. I don't know. I think it's fine, but again, this isn't my expertise. And so you guys can let me know in the comments. I have very, very little experience shooting in these in-log or whatever or RAW. I just don't need it for what I do. And I would leave that expertise to a videographer. I would hire somebody. I think it's fine. I do think that in-log in the ProRes RAW, not the SDR, but like the actual in-log setting, this is much better, I think. Perhaps if it was properly exposed, then it would be like another nothing burger. I don't know. Now to answer the question of, can you swiftly switch from shooting burst into video? I was going to do this through the Atomos, but every time I did, it would interrupt the Atomos. So I have like 27 short interrupted Atomos clips. So I just pulled out my cell phone and this is how we're doing it. And the answer to the question is, yeah. It is extremely hot outside. I'm an absolute freaking mess right now. In my hand, I could physically feel that the Z6iii was very hot, both from the sun and from shooting in RAW and 6K and 4K and all of these really hot producing kind of formats. Not once did I get a hot card, and not once did I get a hot camera. We're covering all the bases now because once all of this nonsense gets debunked and everyone realizes that, wow, these things are so like minuscule in reasonable circumstances, they're going to find something else. So overheating, not really seeming to be an issue. Guys, I really don't want to keep testing all of these different things. It's been fun, but I have to go back to the format of really only making custom content because I'm not a hoe. Making custom content for members of the channel. If you're a Z-Wade Photo full member, I will always do anything within reason that you want me to do as far as content goes. But these are the last requests I'm gonna take on non-issues. The Z6iii is freaking awesome. I've been loving it for content creation. And by the way, every single aspect of what you saw today was done with the Nikon Z6iii. I'm Z-Wade, the Z-Wade, and Z-Wade Photo. Stay sharp, YouTube.